Well, it's springtime, and so it's time to start hitting the water for uh, panfish and largemouth bass and channel catfish. And this is kind of my go-to fly for those fish. I like to use it at dusk when the bluegill are kind of working hard and the bass are kind of moving into the shallows where I'm waiting. Um, it's a subsurface fly. I call it the silver-dyed witch, and I got the name from when people would holler at my granddad and say, "What are you using?" And he'd always holler back, "A black water witch." And so it was kind of a joke between us, and so that's how this fly got its name. As you see, I've started the thread on a number or a size 8 2X wet fly hook, and I left myself a reference point here. I started it about 1/8 of an inch back from the eye of the hook because that's where I don't want to go past this because I want to be able to tie my bead eyes on right there. So I'm going to work this thread back. This is a 70 denier thread. I'm going to work it back, and then I'm going to use these type of rubber legs. They're the kind that you get in a plastic bag, and so they're bent, and I can't ever seem to get that bend out of them. So I use those as my tail legs. And so I cut them at an equal distance on each side of the bend. And then I tie that on to my hook, just like that. And then work them back a little bit. And as you can see, I haven't split them apart because I found it's easier to work the fly, work with the materials on the fly with them tied together, and I'll finish at the end by splitting them apart and using them that way. Then I'm going to take some marabou, which this marabou works really well. It's just the right length for the fly. It comes from Hobby Lobby, and it's on their black marabou boas. And yeah, I do get some raised eyebrows when I take it to the counter, but it works really well as for the type of marabou that I'm wanting it to be. So I'll take that and I'll tie it in just like that. Kind of comb it back, bring that forward. Then I'm going to take some red flashabou and tie this on above the marabou. And to me, this is one of the very most important ingredients in the fly. I don't know if it's, a lot of your leech patterns and that use use a red. In fact, some of the flies that I tie like this, I'll go ahead and use a red rubber leg mixed with the black ones, and it seems to work very well. All right, so I've got that tied in. Now I use a strong black saddle marabou. I mean, saddle hackle, excuse me. And it doesn't matter if it's webby or whatever. You don't have to use one of your expensive ones on this. Bring this back in and tie it in so it's going backwards over the tail. Just like that. The body of the fly is peacock curl. So I'm going to tie that in like that. And then I'm going to use my rotary vise here because it'll save some time and that. If you don't have a rotary vise, you want to just make a dubbing loop with your peacock curl. And what the dubbing loop does is it strengthens that peacock because it is wound around your thread. Work this back without catching my hook point. Okay. And then I'm going to add a little bit more peacock to it. So I'm doing the same process here and just making more rope because I want a little bit fatter body, or I guess I should say more robust body. Take this back and bring it back forward. And remember my reference point. I don't want to go by that. So I'm going to stop it there and tie this peacock curl down. Just like that. And snip the ends off. For the legs, I'm going to move this thread back through the peacock to the center. And I'm going to use rubber legs off of a bass fisherman's hula popper because they have a blue glitter in them. And you don't have to use these, but I like them. Every once in a while when you're pulling it up through the water, you'll see that blue sparkle. And I like blue for fish. I don't know why, but I just like the color blue when I'm fishing for anything, especially trout. And then I'm going to work this back up and stop it right there. As you can see now, I've taken those rubber legs and I've captured them with a hackle plier so it kind of gets them out of the way for me so that I can palmer wrap this hackle up the peacock body just like that till I get to the back of the legs, and then I release them, and then I work the hackle back through the middle, and then pull the front ones back and keep working the hackle on forward till you get to that reference point, and then tie your hackle in. Just like that. And I didn't mean for it to break there, but it very fortunate that it was tied in. Okay. Now, I use some feed chain like this. You can buy this. This happens to be Metal Gallery bead chain. And I'll use my wire cutters and snip 2 of those beads off, and then I'll bring it over and tie that on to the nose of that fly, and then figure 8 it like that. Have it good and anchored, and then finish it off. Just like that. Trim it off. And there's your silver-eyed witch. Except it's not done yet, because you want to take your scissors now and come back and pull these tail legs out and run your scissors between them. And split them apart. On the other side, you're going to do the same thing. Split those apart. And there's your silver-dyed witch. Great fly, like I said, for panfish, bluegill. Channel catfish love them in the evening. Like I said, they're fished probably about 2 feet down in the water levels, and they work really well.